Okay, na? And like we use algae for we add it in different food products also because it's a rich source of protein, right now. So we had different uses of algae. Okay, Khadija, you also mentioned some of the uses of algae.
Sir, I just said.
You have said.
Yes.
Okay. See, we use it to control pollution also, right now. We did discuss this thing also. Like we use it to control pollution also. For prevention of pollution also it is used. For fertilizer it is used. It is used as a biodiesel. Hmm. It is used in different food products right now. It is used in the cosmetics. It is used in the pharmaceutical industry, basically in manufacture of different medicines. So these were the different uses of it. Okay, do tell me, algae, are they unicellular or multicellular? Algae are unicellular or multicellular?
Sir,
Mhm.
both.
Both. Very good. Are they eukaryotic or prokaryotic? Algae are eukaryotic or prokaryotic?
Sir, are they eukaryotic?
Mhm.
Are they eukaryotic?
Exactly, they are eukaryotic. Only the bacteria and archaebacteria, they are prokaryotic right now, while others are eukaryotic. Okay. Also, in the previous class, we did discussed a little bit about protozoa also, like what protozoa are. Okay, now. So in this, we studied that they are group of single cell microorganisms or multicellular. Yes, they are single cellular or multicellular. Guys, they are single
Single?
celled. Yes. Mhm. They are single cellular microorganisms. You all have heard the name of microorganisms like this. Like the very common one is this amoeba. Hmm? It's a very common microorganism. Many times students confuse that it's a bacteria, but it's a protozoa. Okay, now. Now, are they animal-like or are they plant-like? Like when we talked about the algae are plant-like organisms. Do tell me, why do we call algae as plant-like organisms?
Sir, because they can perform photosynthesis.
Mm-hmm. Very good. They can perform photosynthesis. That's why they are autotrophic in nature. Good. So do tell me this one more thing. So protozoa, since they do not contain any chlorophyll, they are not able to do photosynthesis. They do not have chlorophyll, so they are thereby they are heterotrophic in nature, and we say that they are animal-like organisms. Another reason for saying that is because they have got leg-like structures that will help them in locomotion, help them in moving from one place to another. Like this cilia is found in paramecium, or you will later on learn that false feet are found in the amoeba called as pseudopodia. Okay, where do we find protozoa? Where do we find protozoa?
Sir, lakes,
Hmm?
river,
Mm-hmm.
and dirty water.
Dirty water. Okay, drain water. Right now, in the damp soil. So in those places you can found it. Some common examples of protozoa where you have written over. It's written here in the slide also. You can.
Amoeba,
Mhm. Then plasmodium
paramecium.
is paramecium is there. Plasmodium is there. Okay, no. If you want, you can remember one more, that is anti-amoeba. But if you remember three of them, that will be sufficient. Okay, now let's understand what are the disease that are caused by them. Okay, before we even do that, now this one more important thing you should understand. Let's get to know the structure of this amoeba. Okay, now, like you all in your previous classes have studied about the chapter nutrition in animals. Like in class 7, you all have studied the second chapter, nutrition in animals, right now. So in that you might have studied about nutrition in amoeba also, right? In amoeba
Yes,
also.
sir.
So let's see. Say this prey has been trapped by this amoeba. How was this trapped? Let's first of all understand. By the false legs, very good. You can see the false legs have folded it. So it is being trapped by the pseudopodia. So amoeba has got a very simple structure and it does not have a fixed shape. It does not possess any fixed shape. It continuously keeps on changing its shapes. Then it will also be having a nucleus. Inside this, there will be a nucleus. Then you have so many empty spaces inside the amoeba that are called as vacuole. Empty spaces in a cell, if you know, like if I ever taught you about the cell, in a cell you have got different structures. So in the cell you have very tiny structures called as vacuole. Okay, now usually in the plant cell you will find that there are lots of empty spaces. There are lots of empty spaces. While in the animal cells, empty spaces are few. Empty spaces is not that much. So there are fewer number of vacuoles found in the animal cells, and there are more numbers of vacuoles of smaller size found in the animal cells, while fewer number of vacuoles but having large size are found in the plant cells. The main thing is that what is the purpose of vacuole? Vacuole serves as storeroom. Just like in your house, you have a storeroom where you keep extra things right now. In the similar manner, vacuoles serve as storehouse for this amoeba cell also, where it will be storing food or water. So you look over here. If food gets stored in this vacuole, it is called as food vacuole. If water is stored here, then it is called as water vacuole. Is that clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
So what happens whenever there is a prey nearby to this amoeba, it will start to extend its legs towards the prey. That is nucleus, that is vacuole. So this is prey. Later on, what will happen? It will start to, the pseudopodia will start to join. And as you can see in this animation also, that the food has been trapped. The prey has been trapped. And later on, where this trap will be going to? Where this prey will be going to? It will be going to the food vacuole. All of you have understood this or not?
Understood. Understood,
Okay, no?
sir.
Okay, so if I ask you guys to draw a simple diagram of amoeba, I hope you guys can draw it. Okay, no? How do you draw the simple diagram of amoeba? Simply draw it like this. This will be the nucleus. Okay, now make a dark circle like this. This is the nucleus. And this is your food vacuole. This is where the food is supposed to go once it is being trapped. Apart from food vacuole, water vacuoles are also present. So hope that is clear to everyone. Then let's understand about this thing. Like what are the diseases that are caused by protozoa? So about 15 genera of protozoans live as parasites within the human body and cause diseases. Forget about this term genera. Uh, for keeping it simple, just understand like there are 15 different varieties of protozoa that lives as parasites inside the human body, and they are known to cause diseases. There are different types of disease that are spread by protozoa. You all have heard about diseases like malaria. Hmm? Malaria is also caused by a protozoa. But as of now, we are talking about those kind of protozoa that are living as parasites inside the human body. The first type you have got is called is this amoebiasis. So it is also called as amoebic dysentery or amoebic colitis. It is caused by this protozoa. The name of the protozoa is Antiamoeba histolytica. If you can recall, moments ago I wrote this name over here. Anti-amoeba. So this is the amoeba that is known to cause amoebic dysentery in humans. Okay, no? So where it is found to be living? First of all, the food that will be engulfing, let's say the food is contaminated, or the food is contaminated by those by that protozoa. So that's how the food will be getting into your intestines. So once this protozoa enters into the human intestine, particularly the large intestine, so there it will start to grow and it will start to feed on the food particles, and not only food particles, it will start to feed on bacteria also. Like in our gut, in our intestines and stomach, there are certain good bacteria which help in the process of digestion. So that is important for the gut health. But this anti-amoeba histolytica, it will be damaging that. It will be feeding on the food particle and the bacteria also. Now, how do you identify that a person might be suffering from amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery? Don't get confused between these two terms. Now, both are same thing. Amoebiasis or amoebic dysentery, both are same thing, right? So, if a person might be suffering from diarrhea, hmm, or might be like in the stool, along with the stool, blood and mucus might also appear in the stool, in the solid waste of human. Getting it, guys? What I'm trying to say. So these are the symptoms of a person suffering from amoebiasis. Any questions from this?
Sir,
Hello?
can you explain it again?
Yeah, sure. See, as I told you, like the protozoa, the name of the protozoa is Anti-amoeba histolytica. This is known to cause a disease called as amoebiasis, or another name of this disease is amoebic dysentery. How did this protozoa end up in our large intestine? It will end up in our large intestine if we eat contaminated food or drink contaminated water. So by that, it will be getting into your large intestine. Now, what will happen? The food that you are consuming, hmm, so it will start to feed on the food. That is first thing. Second thing is that you know that in our intestines also and in our stomach also there are certain good bacteria that helps in the process of digestion. Like for example, let's understand it like this. You know that there are different components of food: carbohydrate, protein, vitamins, minerals. Then you have another component found in food called as roughage, that we also call as dietary fiber. You guys have heard of roughage, right? How many of you have heard of roughage? None of you. Hello.
Sort of word of it, but I forgot the meaning.
Okay, no worries. See, basically, roughage is that part of the food which does not get digested. But it itself is not getting digested, but it helps in digestion. Let me repeat. Roughage is that component of the food which does not get digested. So the solid waste that is getting excreted from the body, it consists of roughage also. So it itself is not getting digested, but it is helping in digestion. How does it help in digestion? First of all, it adds bulk to the food, meaning that once the food has been absorbed, so thereby whatever waste is there in the food, you see the waste in the human body is either secreted in the liquid state or in the solid state. So the waste is having a solid state because of the roughage. Because roughage consists of fiber. And where do you get fiber from? Like you can get fiber from plant materials also. You get fiber from plant products. Like doctor would advise you to eat leafy vegetables, to eat the fruits rather than drinking the juice. It's better to eat the fruits rather than drinking the juice. Why is it so? Because that consists of fibers, and fibers are helpful in digestion because it adds dietary fiber. Getting it? It is a dietary fiber that helps in digestion. It adds bulk to the food. Another most important thing is that why I have brought up this topic while discussion is that the roughage is actually a food for the bacteria found in your gut. It is food for the bacteria found in your gut. Getting it, guys?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Khadija, Sundus, everyone getting it now? Gauri, Khadija,
Yes, sir.
Krika. Okay. So we were talking about this amoebiasis. So what happens now? What will happen now? This protozoa will start feeding on the food particles and the bacteria also. So thereby you will be getting your digestion will not be proper, right? Then from the stool, in the stool, we observe that blood and mucus will also be observed in the stool. The person can suffer from diarrhea, that is from loose motion. So that is the thing. Now you know that how disease spreads from one place to another, from one place to another, huh? So here you have the house fly, that is Musca domestica, basically the house fly. By the way, this Musca domestica, it's the scientific name of house flies. Just like every living organism that you see on earth has got a scientific name also. Like we all have got different names, but we all are known by a common scientific name. That is Homo sapiens. All of you have heard of Homo sapiens, right? So house flies also have a scientific name that is called as Musca domestica. So basic thing is that is not very much important, but the main thing here to understand is that it acts as a carrier for transmitting the parasite from contaminated faces and water. So suppose contaminated faces, let's say some animal poo or some animal poo is there, or animal urine is there, or contaminated water is there. So insects, most commonly the house flies, are known to sit on the the poo of animals or dirty things. So the house flies, let's say it sits on the food. So thereby the person that will be consuming the food will not be getting infected. How? Basically, like once this fly, house fly, when it sat on the dirty water or on the feces, fecal matter of animals, so thereby protozoa, this anti-amoeba histolytica, this protozoa sat, it got stick to the it was sticking to the body of the housefly. It got stick to the body of housefly. So when the housefly will sit on the food particles, so thereby it will transfer the protozoa to this food. And when you consume this food, thereby the person will be suffering from amoebiasis. Is that clear to everyone or not? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
If anyone have any
Yes, sir.
slightest doubt,
Sir,
please let me know. Yeah.
sir, actually my internet is a bit unstable, so your voice had cut off, so can you explain it again?
Okay. See, where exactly you are unable to understand this?
No, my internet had cut off, so
Okay.
so
Got it.
your voice was.
Got it. No issues. See, basically what happens now, if you were to eat contaminated food, the food on which house flies have sat on, normally house flies sit on fecal matter of animals, poo of animals, dirty water. If it lands on the food, if it sits on the food, what will happen? It will be transferring the protozoa that on the feces or on the dirty water. So it will be transferring the protozoa from there onto the food. Now, once the person consumes this, what will happen? This protozoa called as enter-amoeba histolytica, it goes to the large intestine. So there, what it will start to do? It will start to feed on the food particles, the food that you're engulfing, that you're eating. And also there are certain good bacteria that are found to be living inside our gut. It is found to be living in our small intestine, large intestine, and in our stomach. So it will be damaging both. It will be stealing the our food, and it will be damaging those good bacteria also. So thereby, in result of this, what will happen from the human stool, like the solid waste that that the humans secrete. So in that, you will find that blood and mucus will also come along with the stool. So that is the thing, and this disease is carried by the house flies. Hope it is clear.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, now Then we have another kind of disease spread by this protozoa called as African sleeping sickness. Okay, now let's understand this. So what is this? It is a disease which is again caused by a this protozoa that is a parasitic in nature right now. So in this, what will basically happen? The person will be continuously sleeping for longer hours. The symptoms would be as follows: like the person would be having headache, the person would be suffering from weakness, getting it. Person would be suffering from weakness, person would be continuously having headache. So if the person suffers from this, he would be not having some normal headache. It would be a very severe headache. Person would be very irritating. The person would have develop a irritable behavior. The lymph nodes inside the body will swell. Muscles will start to ache. Aching will happen in the muscles. So wherever joints are present, joints will at joints also the person will feel pain. So these are the common symptoms of sleeping sickness. People might develop rashes on their skin also right now. So this is caused by another type of protozoa called as Trypanosoma gambians. Although this one is not important for you, but still you should know that this kind of disease is also spread right now. Getting it? So African sleeping sickness in the this person will suffer from severe headache, irritable behavior, weakness, aching in muscles and joint, and person will develop rashes on skin also. Sometimes you might have heard of this disease, I believe, or if you like reading encyclopedia or general knowledge book, you might have heard of this. Okay, no? Then you have the most common disease spread by the protozoa. That is called as malaria. So if you remember in the beginning, we had different examples of protozoa. You had one example of plasmodium. Getting it now? So what does this plasmodium does? See, plasmodium, which is found to be living in the red blood cells of humans, when it is mature enough, see, plasmodium, it lives in the red blood cells of human in its mature condition. Thereby, it is called as trophozoite. Now, it is transmitted from one person to another by the bite of the infected female. The name of the female is Anopheles mosquito. Let's understand how exactly it spreads from one person to another and what is the name of the protozoa responsible for it. See, for example, there's there's an infected person. He is suffering from malaria. And in his blood, in the blood of this person, this plasmodium is found. Okay, clear so far? Now what happens that this mosquito bites this person. This mosquito bites this person, and this is not a normal mosquito, but the female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, now female Anopheles, and then it goes on to bite a healthy person. So once it injects the blood, once it puts the proboscis. See this thing you this pipe-like structure that is coming out from the mouth. This you call as proboscis. That is proboscis. So once this mosquito will be inserting its proboscis in the body of the healthy person, so thereby it will be transferring the plasmodium into the blood of this person or not. Answer this to me. Yes. Is this simple thing clear to all of you or not? Like this Anopheles mosquito bites a infected person. While doing so, what happens? Plasmodium from the blood of this infected person gets inside the body of this mosquito. When the mosquito will be biting this healthy person, so thereby from the mouth of this mosquito, that is from the proboscis of this mosquito, the plasmodium will be now transferred to this healthy person. So in this manner, this person will also become sick. So this is how it is transferred from a sick person to a healthy person. Now let's understand what are the symptoms of malaria. What will happen if the person suffers from malaria? First thing is that the person would be feeling very cold. The person would be then suffering from fever also. There will be a general sense of discomfort. The person will not feel comfort right now. Person might person might be might suffer from diarrhea also. Again, there would be pain in joint or in the muscles. Getting it? Malaria symptoms: chills, fever, headache. Then you will be having like nausea also, nausea, vomiting, a general sense of discomfort all the time. Then diarrhea also. Pain in muscles and joint. I hope you guys are getting it. Is that clear to everyone? Hello? Guys, am I audible to everyone or not?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Sir, can you explain this part again?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, someone was saying something.
Yes, sir. I was asking if you could explain this part again.
Okay. See, basically what happens, malaria is a disease in which what happens, the person suffers from the following conditions. The person suffers from following conditions. Like the person develops chills, high fever, headache, vomiting, nausea, discomfort, diarrhea, and pain in muscles and joint. These are the general symptoms that a person is suffering from malaria, right? Now, how malaria is caused? Hmm? By what kind of protozoa it is caused? It is caused by different species of plasmodium. Hmm? So, so simply just remember that there is a one type of protozoa. The name is plasmodium. It is found to be living in the red blood cells of human. Not naturally, only if the person gets infected. So say that this person is suffering from malaria. This is unhealthy person. So in the blood of this person, plasmodium will be found to be living. And where exactly in the blood? In the red blood cells. So inside the red blood cells of this person, this protozoa called as plasmodium will be there. Now it will be transferred like just like how we did discuss about this, like how amoebiasis is transmitted by this housefly. It transmits it from the fecal matter of animals or humans or dirty water to the food, and once we consume it, we get sick. So thereby the disease was there. In the case of amoebiasis, it was transmitted by the help of a housefly. Now here the disease is transmitted from a sick person to a healthy person with the help of, not with the help of it, say, but because of this female anopheles. What does it do? Suppose it sits on this person to inject the blood. So while injecting the blood, while sucking the blood, it will get the blood, and the blood inside the blood, in the red blood cells, plasmodium will be found. Like this is the red blood cell, and in this plasmodium will be found. So next time when it sits on another healthy person to suck the blood from its mouth, so thereby while doing so, what will happen? The blood from its body now somehow will get in contact, like the mouth of this mosquito is already infected with plasmodium. So once the mosquito will be inserting its mouth in the skin of this healthy person, so thereby obviously the plasmodium will get into the body of this healthy person and thereby making him sick. You guys getting
Sir,
it or not? Mhm.
can only female mosquitoes transmit plasmodium?
Yeah, it is seen that only the female mosquitoes transmits it. Okay, now also you know that normally most of the mosquitoes that you see now, Most of the mosquitoes that sucks the blood, most of them are female mosquitoes. Okay, now, so female mosquitoes sucks the blood. Getting it now? Why do they do this? Because they require blood to produce egg. Getting it now? They require blood. Blood is providing them with nutrition. So using that nutrition, they would be producing lots of eggs. Okay, now. Then the question comes: how male mosquitoes survive? That is another question now. See, how basically you will find that if you were to go to the garden or to the forest, there also you will find mosquitoes living in the between the leaves, living among the plants. Huh? Right? Have you ever observed this? Like if you were to stand near a plant, like particularly in the evening, there would be lots of mosquitoes near the plants also. So mosquitoes, they primarily will be feeding on the nectar from the plant. Male mosquitoes, I'm talking about male mosquitoes. So male mosquitoes, yes.
So basically, only female mosquitoes can bite humans and suck their blood, right?
Exactly. All the mosquitoes that you see that are biting the humans, all of them are female mosquitoes, right now.
So none of the male mosquitoes cannot bite us and suck the blood.
No. Normally, generally, what we see that male mosquitoes do not bite the humans. How do they survive? They survive by feeding on the plant nectar, right
Okay,
now.
so
Okay, hope everyone is getting this.
Is it impossible for male mosquitoes to bite people, or can they?
Is it possible for male mosquitoes to bite?
Yes.
It is see, basically, if we were to look at the structure of their proboscis now, look at the structure of the proboscis of the male and female. It is very different. It is different. Like the proboscis of this female mosquito is designed in such a manner. It is constructed in such a manner that it can pierce the skin, while that of a male mosquito is not of such design. It is slightly different. But they would be, since there are so many species of mosquitoes are there, it's not like just these 2 or 3 mosquitoes species you have seen. There are so many species of mosquitoes are there. So obviously there might be some of them, like I see that there are somewhere between 3 to 4,000 species of mosquitoes are there. Just imagine 3 to 4,000 species of mosquitoes are there on earth. Hmm? So there might be some exceptions. So I can't say for sure that the none of the male mosquitoes bites human. Getting it up? But it is general. It's a general observation that only the female mosquito bites. Hope it is clear to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, na? So what are the diseases caused by protozoa we have studied so far? Do tell me. At least name 2 of them. Along with the name of disease, my question is, just now we studied about protozoa and what are the diseases spread by them. Name 2 of the diseases spread by them along with the protozoa that causes it.
Malaria.
The name
Amoebiasis.
amoebiasis, very good.
Frequency.
Forget that one. Usually you won't be asked regarding that in the exam.
Malaria.
Very good. Okay. And amoebiasis is caused by? Yes. It starts from E.
The Antamobia and his door is
The first part of the name will also do. If you just remember this much, a very simple way to remember the name of that protozoa is like, you know the spelling of amoeba. This is amoeba, right? Just before amoeba, write ENT. So that becomes anti-amoeba. Okay, now. So anti-amoeba histolytica, it is actually anti-amoeba histolytica. Let me write the full name also. But in exam, if you write this much also, examiner should give you marks. Okay, now. Histolytica. What does this cause? It causes amoebiasis. Very good. Amoebiasis. Okay. And Where does this plasmodium live? Where does this protozoa live? This anti-amoeba histolytica.
Intestine.
Which intestine particularly? Small or large?
Large.
Large. Very good. Which protozoa is also called as malarial parasite? Think about this and answer it logically. Like many of the most of the protozoa are parasitic in nature. Hmm. Like the anti-amoeba histolytica, it is living inside the human body. The human body is a host for that one. So thereby we are host and that is a parasite. Same thing is about this plasmodium also, no? Same thing is true for this also. It gets into our body and it starts to take nutrition from our blood. So thereby this is sometimes also called as malarial parasite. Getting it now? It causes malaria and it is a parasitic organism, thereby it's malarial parasite. Okay. Next thing we have to discuss is the viruses. Okay, now let's understand what are viruses. See, out of all the microorganisms we have studied so far, viruses are the smallest microorganisms. Okay, and normally when you see it, normally when you will be looking at it, it will be unalive. It will not show any characteristics of a living organism. But once it gets inside the cell of its host organisms, that can be animal, a plant, or a bacterial cell. So once it enters the human cell or plant cell or inside the cell of a bacteria, so then it will start to develop, then it will start to show some movement, it will start to reproduce, it will start to multiply and reproduce. So viruses are the smallest of all the microbes. Different microbes we have studied so far. Microorganisms, in short, also called as microbes. They are said to be so small that 500 million rhinoviruses, which causes the common cold. The common cold is caused by this virus, rhinoviruses. Let me show its image as well. This one over here. Where did it went? Okay, anyways, I will show its image later on. See, as of now, just understand this thing here, that if you were to compare how small a virus can be, see that if you have a tip of a pin, let's say this is a pin, and you look at the tip of this, just a tiny portion of it. So in this tiny portion of the tip, how many rhinoviruses can fit? 500 million. Getting it now? Now let's wide example of some cells and some living organisms. Let's get a comparison of the size of a virus, like how small it exactly is. This is the size of a red blood cell, that is 8,000 nanometer. Yes.
So it is said that viruses are neither prokaryotic nor eukaryotic, right? When they're outside the host's body, but when they're in the host's body, what are they? Are they prokaryotic or are they eukaryotic?
Okay. Viruses are prokaryotic or eukaryotic?
Yes, so when they're in the host body.
Okay. See, the thing is now, if you were to look at viruses, when you study about it in detail, you say that they can neither be categorized as prokaryotic or eukaryotic. They can neither be characterized as prokaryotic or eukaryotic. Hmm? Because you know that talking about eukaryotic cells contains a very well-defined nucleus, right? No, it contains a very well-defined nucleus. As if you guys can recall, it will be having a very well-defined nucleus. It will be having different cell organelles that will also be having a boundary, right now. And you see that
Yes,
talking
so
about a eukaryotic cell and talking about a prokaryotic cell also, they are able to carry out the different metabolic processes on their own. Getting it what I'm trying to say? Whether it be
yes, sir.
about digestion of food, ingestion of food, or excretion of different waste materials from the body, whether you have prokaryotic or eukaryotic cells, both of them can perform it now, right? Although their structure is
So,
different, but both of them can perform the basic metabolic functions right now. So while viruses on their own, they can't perform any of it. So they are actually not similar to a cell. They are said to be acellular organisms. This is very interesting thing to understand, that they are actually they are acellular organisms, and their body does not possess a structure similar to that of a cell, meaning that the
so
structural
basic,
organization of their body is not that of a cell. Yeah,
so we can basically say that viruses cannot be called cells. Like the
exactly,
particles of viruses cannot be called as a cell,
exactly. Right
even
now.
when it's in a person's body, like in a human's
Hmm.
body.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it enters inside the human body, at that time also it's not like once it enters the human body, it will acquire a shape of a cell. No, right now.
Okay,
So that is the thing. Okay, no?
yes, sir.
That is the thing. Also, like one thing you will find in all the different cells, like you look at a child that is growing, how does that child the bone of the child grows longer and thicker, muscles start to develop on different parts of the body, because cells have an ability to self replicate and develop. Try to understand this thing. If I were to give you the example of this amoeba, how this amoeba reproduces, you know what it will do? It will simply start to split into half. If this amoeba wants to grow, let's say it wants to do reproduction, so it will simply start to split into half, and two daughter cells, two amoeba cells will be formed. Okay, getting it now? Now talking about the animal cell, let's say this is a, let's say any human cells, say this is a human cell. It also starts to do reproduction, it also start wants to divide, so it will self replicate. It will also replicate into two cells. While that thing is not seen in the case of a virus. A virus is incapable of self-replicating. It does not have the ability to replicate on its own. Try to understand this thing. So thereby they need to take help of the host cells to carry out its different activities, and in order to grow also it takes help of the cells of host animals. All of you have understood this now. So this point, it's thank you, Chakrika, for bringing up this topic. Let me add this one also. They are neither prokaryotes nor eukaryotes. And when they are outside the host body, they will not show any symptoms. They will not show any signs of life. It is only once they get inside the cells of the host organism, they start to grow, they start to respire, they start to feed, they start to excrete and move on their own. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no?
So basically, they're eukaryotes when they enter the human body.
Once they enters the human body or plant body or even the body of a bacteria, then they will start to show the different traits of life. Like if you were here, let's have a size comparison. You will get a very interesting thing here. This is the red blood cell. This is the red blood cell. The size is 8,000 nanometer. Nanometer is a very small unit. Okay, now nanometer is 10 raised to the power minus 9 meter. If you were to write 1 upon 10 raised to the power 9 meter, getting it? So that is called as nanometer. So in short, you write it as nm. So red blood cells are this much smaller. Then you have the bacteria that called as E. coli. Have you guys heard of this disease? It's actually a disease also, E. coli, caused by this bacteria. So it is smaller than the red blood cells, that is 2000 nanometer. Then talking about lysosome. Lysosomes are found within the cells. Remember that. We have got different cell organelles inside the cell. So one of them is lysosome. So lysosome is also very small. Then you have this influenza. This causes the influenza. This is the HIV virus. This is the influenza virus. Then you have the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Getting it now? Now look at the size comparison here. How
This
small?
HIV.
Which one? This one. Human
HIV, yes.
yeah, this causes AIDS now. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. HIV is the virus that causes AIDS. Like, it is a sexually transmitted disease. Okay, na? And that disease is caused by the virus called as, in short, it is called as HIV virus. And the disease caused by it is AIDS. In this, what happens? The immune system of person becomes very, very weak. The person's immune becomes so weak that it cannot even fight a normal infection. And person usually starts to slowly die after some time. Anyways,
Okay.
so here you have the example of the viruses like this, HIV or SARS-CoV-2 virus. Now look at the size difference, how small it is as compared to this red blood cell or to the bacterial cell. So you tell me, can't this virus enter inside the cell or inside the red blood cell? Can't the viruses like the SARS-CoV-2 or HIV or the influenza, can't they enter inside the bacterial or the red blood cells? Because they are much, much smaller as compared to their size. Yes, Khadija, Gauri, Sundus, Chakrika.
So can you repeat your question?
Sir, they can.
Yes,
They can.
they can. My question was now, I'm repeating my question. Cells like red blood cells and the bacterial cells, they are much, much larger as compared to the virus cells like influenza or HIV or SARS-CoV-2. These are their images for representing them. So since they are smaller, they can enter inside them now, right? They can enter inside the body of this bacteria or inside the body of red blood cells.
So,
So
sir,
that,
does it make the virus stronger?
please speak a little bit louder.
Do they make the virus stronger if they enter the other virus?
Do virus enter the body of another virus? No. Why it will do so? Because a virus is incapable of performing any functions on its own. Like, there are two viruses, both of them need energy, both of them need nutrition. So both of them will be getting nutrition from either this red blood cell or this bacterial cell. So why this virus will go inside the body of this another virus? Let's say if it is slightly bigger in size, because there it will not be getting anything now. So logically, it will not do so. Okay, now. So since they are much, much smaller, that's why they can enter the body of these bacteria and the human blood cells. So that's why we see that virus will not only be affecting the plant and human plant and animal cells, but also it infects the bacterial cells also. Isn't that interesting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no? Now let's understand about this person, Dmitry Ivanovsky. Let's understand who this person was. See, this is the person who has been credited for the discovery of virus. He was the person who discovered virus. Okay, now for the first time. So it was in the year 1892 when this person discovered it. So what he observed that there was a infectious there was no there was a disease called as tobacco mosaic disease. Tobacco mosaic is a disease, and it was caused by at that time he didn't knew about virus. He didn't even quoted the term virus at that time. Right now, I'm talking about 1892. So he said that there was an infectious agent which caused tobacco mosaic disease, and it was smaller than bacteria. Let me repeat. Dmitry Ivanovsky in the year 1892, while doing his studies and while doing his research, he observed that there is an infectious agent. To what he is referring? He was referring to a type of virus. So he said that there's an infectious agent which causes tobacco mosaic disease, and when he looked at its size of that virus, it was smaller than that of a bacteria. All of you understood this clearly or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no? So it was only after 6 years that another person came and then he gave the term virus. So in this,
So,
yes,
so did he find out with this like compound microscope or a simple microscope?
back then, no, at that time, no, compound microscopes were not. Compound microscopes have been recently invented, I believe.
So
Okay, no?
then,
Maybe
he used a simple microscope to see that small virus.
Chikrika, hold on for a minute. I believe now that compound microscopes were actually, there were two scientists, I'm forgetting their name at the moment, but in the late or in the early 16th century, I believe that the very first model of compound microscopes were actually developed. Okay, now
Yes,
I
sir.
will have to look into it, but you are saying it correct. In order to look at the virus which is having such a small size, you need to have at least a compound light microscope. So they must have used it. Okay, no, they must have used it.
Okay, so
Mhm. Then, as we have different branches of study, like you have microbiology, in which we study about different microorganisms. In the microbiology, also you have different branches. Like one of the branches called as virology, in which we study about is viruses and what are the infections that they cause. So that is the thing. Then, based on the shape, we did study that we have got different bacterial cells also. Hmm? You have bacillus cells, you have rod shaped bacteria, you have spherical shaped bacteria, you have comma shaped bacteria. Getting it now? You have spiral shaped bacteria. In the same manner, viruses also have got different shape. Like polyhedral is there, enveloped shape is there, helical, complex. Which one? Which one is same as like you had this COVID virus. So COVID virus represents which one of them? It is similar to which shape?
The envelope.
It's enveloped. It's enveloped actually. If you were to look at the, if you were to look at no, over here, like the COVID virus also looks somewhat similar to that of HIV virus. So the images, the shapes that you see over here, this is enveloped. This is also enveloped. This is enveloped. This is polyhedral. This one is complex, right? In the image, you are provided with some examples of virus, like HIV virus is there, hepatitis B is there, Ebola virus is there. Hmm. It took so many years to prepare vaccine for this Ebola virus, right? Adenovirus is there, influenza, bacteriophage. These are some of the common examples of virus. At least you will be required to remember 3 to 4 of them, okay now? Memorize the name of HIV, hepatitis B, Ebola virus, adenovirus, influenza. Now, one interesting question comes that how are they different from other microscopes, other microorganisms? We have studied so many things about them, like neither they are prokaryotic, neither they are eukaryotic. They are able to show traits of life once they enter inside the body of the host organism only, right now. So the main feature that distinguishes it from other microorganisms is that they are able to reproduce only inside the cells of the host organisms. And what could be the host organism for virus? It could either be a plant, it could be an animal, or it could be even a bacteria. Hope it is clear to everyone. We will
Yes,
conclude
sir.
the class just by one more thing. What are advantages? Like ever thought like there could be some advantages of virus also? So yes, there are some advantages. See, since viruses are having such a small size, so thereby they can be used as carriers to transport the material that are needed to treat a disease. For example, in the body, there's a particular tissue or particular organ that is damaged, where the cells are damaged or where some damaging agents are present. Some, let's say, some bacterial cells or some other viruses are present. So there you want to provide the medicines. You want to provide the material at that specific location in the body. So there also you can use the viruses as vectors or carriers, just like you had the example of housefly that was carrying the protozoa from the fecal matter of humans or animals from one place to another to the food. In the similar manner, viruses also will be here acting as carriers. What do they transport? They transport the material needed to treat a disease to various target cells. Is this point clear? It is very important. It is clear to everyone?
So can you explain it again?
No issue. See, say that a particular organ in the body is damaged. The cells of this organ is damaged. And I want to provide some material to the cells of this one, to this organ. So what I will do, say that this is your virus. Let's say this is virus. And they will help you to carry that material to that target cells. This is the target cell where I want to provide that material. So let's say this is the material that will get attached to the body of this virus. This is the material. I'm explaining it in a very simple manner. Although this is not how it goes, it's quite complex. So let's say that this material gets attached to the body of this virus, and now the virus will start to will go to that particular organ where it is required. In this manner, it will help to cure the disease. Okay, now. Then with the help of viruses, nanoscale materials are arranged. I will explain this one in the next class. With some animation, you would be able to understand it in a better manner. Then talking about what are the disadvantages, we have just studied moments ago, like it is known to cause different type. Okay, we haven't studied about the diseases caused by virus yet, no? Okay. Next class, we'll be studying about the disadvantages. We would understand about a wide variety of diseases that are caused by the viruses. So hope that is clear. If you guys have any questions, please to let me know. Also, you guys, today, or you guys have a test today or tomorrow? When you guys have, which date you have opted for test?
Sir, I opted for Saturday.
Okay. All
There
right.
is a test.
Yes.
There is a test.
Yeah, there will be a test. I believe you guys have notified. You guys might have received
I'm
the
not
syllabus.
sure.
We
I
haven't been
didn't choose
notified.
yet. I think I will choose
Oh.
Saturday.
Okay,
So
so
because my student portal is not working, did they post it in the student portal?
yeah, they must have provided it there, or if you haven't received it,